that we need to sit and get. And with any and everybody, whether she was black, whether she was gay or this, if there's some meat to be had, just like people say for the Bible, I'll pick out the parts that you can use and toss away the other parts. And that's really essentially what it is. It has nothing to do with the fact that she's her sexual preference. In actuality, they say King James was a gay guy. Yet that Bible is in every home across America and North South America and Australia and every other language they can translate it in. Come on, people. What kind of standards are we talking about here?
King James didn't write about.
So what do you say her overall message was? Because you're more so saying as if she had certain talking points that was damaging. But I feel like her overall message was damaging. And even though she had some truth within the message, the overall message that she was giving was damaging in itself. So what do you feel of that? What do you think her message was?
So who and what community was it damaging to?
The black community.
The black community. With all them Bibles in everybody's house? With all those pre-printed, copyrighted Bibles in everybody's house, and you're going to say that book was damaging to the black community? Her book was damaging.
Can I just say that's almost like a false equivalency? And the only reason why I'm jumping in to say that is because let's say I accept the premise that, yeah, Kevin Samuels was gay. One of his central conceits for his show was getting the black family back together. Average black women finding an average black man, they come together and start a black family. So that's almost a false equivalency comparing those two.
Well, no, and he was more damaging because his idea of average was $35,000. Like, really? That was his. So when you sitting here saying damaging, I'm saying when we're picking out one person, as opposed to everybody in this world have either seen a Bible, had a Bible in their hand, they have had this book, it's been in a nightstand at the hotels, it's at the front, it's everywhere you can look. It is the most damaging piece of literature for the black community, way more than either one of those people. Let's take them out the equation. There are other books that are way more damaging than this book. If you don't like this book, put it down. Do not buy it. Do not subscribe to what she's talking about. It is real simple.
With all due respect, my sister, I believe you're doing a straw man. Nobody's arguing about that. Nobody's talking about the Bible. You're responding to a premise that nobody else has made. So
she said
that's just a straw man.
She said the book. I said what community is her literature? Because her literature is what we're talking about. I said what community and to who? She said the black community. And I said, sis, we're talking about her and her content when there is more damaging content that is damaging us right now. You still got the church network and all of them still playing in people's houses 24/7.
But nobody's arguing that, sis. Nobody's arguing that.
Because y'all only saying she's gay.
But we're not arguing. We're not arguing
because
we're not arguing. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Or what Takina was saying is correct. Like, it's not really that she's just gay. It's the message. Like, even a self-help book, right? If this was her self-help book, she didn't help anybody. She didn't do any self-help. She did it? Another person.
Wow. She had about 500 people who felt like they were helped. So I can't say that's not nobody.
And I get the Bible part. I agree with her about the Bible part. But what I'm saying is, if you're telling me self-help, a self-help book is you telling me what I need to do to help myself. You complaining about another person is not giving me the tools to help myself.
She had about 500 people in the chat who said they were helped, being helped, and is helped. How can you ignore that? So she is, and they
Because
were
that's
black
not
people
self
in the
help,
black
even if they're being
community.
helped. Because self help means that you're giving me the tools to help myself. You're not complaining about another person.
They
You have
felt
to give me the
helped
If
tools
you
to help
call yourself
yesterday.
But that
black
And
and
were
doesn't
you
they
matter.
there
doing
Felt
because
something
of
help.
But
wrong,
her? Were they
sis,
there
it
because
doesn't
of
matter
her?
if it doesn't matter if they felt help. You know how many men is running around here feeling like they're alpha men and don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out, all because they're regurgitating Kevin Samuels and the Manosphere talking points, but they don't
And
fit the
Jordan
build of an alpha
Peterson.
male. They don't fit that bill, so they're not really helped. They just heard something that made their ego feel good, so they feel helped. But how did it really help
Same,
them?
same thing. This
Exactly.
is
That's why I'm
same
saying
thing.
that's
Now
the
just reverse
same
that.
exact thing. Neither of those are self help books. If that was a self help book, how is it a self help book for you to just complain about women? That don't help you. You, if it was a real self help book and you trying to be like better the community, you would be giving him tools of how he makes himself a better man, how he gets
So
vision,
you gonna
how
go
he
tell them
implements his
500 people
vision.
yesterday in
So it's
that
the
chat they
same.
wasn't
You're
helped?
saying you're a queen maker, and you got to tell me how to be a queen. And complaining about the next person isn't going to make me a queen. The only way you can make me a queen is telling me this is how you get the qualities of a queen. This is how you should take
She
care of
has
yourself. This is the self care.
56,000 followers. She has 2 books, and that was just only a portion of her content. So how are we seeing an absolute fact that she ain't helped nobody? I'm not
I'm not
understanding
saying
that.
But we're
I'm not
only
saying
referring
that
to what
she
she
didn't
said
help
on
anybody.
Sonetta.
I didn't say that. I said if her I said if her talking points was a book, she gave no self help talking points. That's what I said.
Oh, okay. Yesterday she didn't give no, she didn't. Not yesterday. She did not. But I'm
Exactly.
saying, when you look at the overall picture, because she's not exactly the face, because I think it's a movement. I think these women are kind of grouped together because again, like when we stated earlier, there is a lot of women who are starting to say regurgitate this. So I think it's a movement or something or another, right? Because at the end when she sat and said that it's communal, and she feels like she's taking back the men people came from a woman, it's going to end with a woman. That's a movement, some sort of something that they're in. Now that for me, that's when it just gets a little weird, because it's like, it's a whole movement. Yeah, you guys can, yeah, y'all, okay, y'all stay over there with all of that. It's not just an ideology. It's not just her idea. It's an ideology that lots of women have picked up this ideology, and it is spreading like wildfire. It is basically the new in thing. It really is. So what you gonna so as a community, when you're talking about, you know, are we saying throw her out of this community? Right? Throw her out of this community so she can get back to the community she belongs to. Is that what we're saying?
yeah.
Okay. I can
Yeah,
agree to
pretty
that.
much. Pretty much.
Okay. Then I can agree to that.
PC Bizzle, thank you for waiting. What do you have to add to this? Did I get in trouble saying your name? SMH369, my bad.
I would not let my daughter listen to her.
I agree with that. I wouldn't either.
Boy,
I wouldn't give her as the best advice to go as far as that. Even if she has talking points that I believe are true, I would just give them talking points. But I agree so much with what Commission said, because I think when it comes, and that's my point that I keep making, is when it comes to these arguments, we get so tit for tat. We get so into just, oh, well, you said this about women, so I'm going to say this about men. Or you said this about men, so I'm going to say this about women. But we never really talk about what's going to be the source to heal ourselves. So now it's just like you have a rash and you're scratching the itch instead of getting the cream that's going to make the itch go away. So that's what we're doing right now. We're just scratching the itch each other back and forth. Like, oh, I get to complain about you dudes that do this, that, and the other, and you get to complain about women that do this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, it's not helping us build families. Even if people say that's their goal, it's not helping us. It's not
So
helping us.
when so when Shahrazad came on, and all the men had something to say about her too. And now, are we talking about? Are we also talking about men just, just, hey, we don't want a woman, because what they really are, these women are, to be quite honest, are independent, free thinking type of women. So when we say, hey, let's get rid of these independent, free thinking type of women because they're not saying what we want to hear, what are we doing with that? Because that's what the community also needs: independent, free thinking people. And whatever their content is, if it does not fit you, it does not fit you. But we still need that, because when a lot of people here in our community subscribe to different religions. So religions is really at the forefront of what you feel, and it don't have nothing to do with the woman. It has everything to do with your religion.
Yeah, but Shahrazad was trying to bring our people together. It
A
sounds like she was
family.
doing the opposite of what the lady from last night was trying to do. Shahrazad was saying, "Hey, let's put the problems out there. Let's address them so we can heal the black family and come back together as a unit." And it sounds like, from what you all are saying, is the lady from last night was saying the polar opposite. And plus,
She is she not free?
Shahrazad was married twice. She has 12 kids. So
They go against
Right, but is she not
Shahrazad.
independent and free thinking?
If
Because
they
that's what
go,
the community needs: independent
Not
and free
necessarily need that
thinkers.
though.
if they go against Shahrazad, they need to be exiled from the community. And I'm saying it like this because to me personally, she the prophetess when it come to bringing us together. As far as the one who started really trying to put that movement out there real heavy, And so when it come down to dealing with people who oppose her, they done lost their mind when it come to a brother opposing that sister. That's
And
what I
we're
was
saying
just
the other
thinking.
lady is bringing division.
Right. It's
Okay.
she
Yes.
considered it right. She may have not been healed from certain things. And so she really ain't there. She trying to be something that she hasn't reached. You see what I'm saying? She
No, I don't, because I think it's very interesting that y'all put it in that content when she's found a way to monetize this thing. Sometimes I think that when we talking about building community, we throw away the people and throw away the money, and then
throwing
all of us who have
away.
not found a way to monetize our hurt, our pain, our good parts,
Yeah,
the good things in our lives,
yeah,
things that we celebrate.
yeah,
If we have not found a way to get in this capitalistic society that we live in, that we all sharing in, and figure out how to monetize some of these things that we're discussing, then we have not reached the plateau either.
yeah.
Because
I get
monetization is a big, huge part of a person's mindset.
I got you. And what I'm
Well,
what I'm
Jim,
what I was saying though, dealing with Shahrazad, I'm saying she is the prophetess of bringing our people together, like the brother
She's
was.
also monetized.
Nothing,
Don't
nothing,
forget that.
yeah,
Don't
but
forget that.
right, but nothing against the other sister. But what I'm saying is we have to learn how to stay in our lane. Say, like saying if somebody is already doing it, maybe she should learn from the sister, being that she an elder. Do your thing, do your own thing how you want to do it, but pick up some pointers from her because she been doing it just like you. If you got a position of expertise you in, then somebody should come to you if you are already the one that's known to do that. You see what I'm saying? I
Right.
feel like we get too grown to learn though. You know what I mean? And we don't want to hear nothing from nobody else because we want to be free thinkers in our own mind. We want to hear what nobody else got to say because we don't want nobody, we don't want to feel like we learning from nobody. And we got to get out of that
Jim,
mindset. That's all I'm saying. Nothing
Gemini,
against
can I
the
ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead, sis.
other.
So from just listening, it appears that you have a little bit more information on the sister than what was just said on Sinetta. That's what I'm assuming. I'm not sure that you may have engaged in her other stuff. So I want to know if that is true. If that is the case, what do you hold on from her message? Like, I don't like, what do you get from it that men need to be humble? Like, what do you get from it that makes you feel so strongly about her?
Well, I've never heard of her until yesterday, like all of us. But I
Really?
listened to what it is. Yeah, but I listened to what she said because I'm a listener, right? I'm Gemini. I'm an air sign. Information is kind of like my thing. So I'm listening to people. I listen to a lot of things and I hear crystal clear what a lot of people are saying. But then I also understand the biggest picture and the biggest part where we just had Black Lion Supreme say that all money ain't good money, but we just got off a conversation about with Darvis, and the main part meats of that conversation was socioeconomics, right? So socioeconomics plays a big part in what it is. And so what I'm saying is we are quick to throw out lots of things and still miss the point before we threw it out. So monetization out of all of this, everything that we're doing, we still live here in the United States of America, the biggest capitalistic society ever. So if we are not building, if we are not creating our children also to be free and independent thinkers, separate, without strings from other people's raw opinions, having raising our children in their ability to do what they feel like they created to do on the inside of them and monetize it, then we have also missed the point because the Black community is suffering. Our number one issue is socioeconomics. We don't have enough money. People are getting together to do whatever they can to make these dollars here, whether it's here on the internet, whether it's at a job, no matter where it is. Right now, things are really tough. People are pulling together. So when we're talking about this sister, I understand kicking her out because her values don't don't are not in alignment with yours. But what I'm seeing is the bigger picture is for her following and what she's been able to do for 15 years is a bigger part of is a bigger key for me than a bigger takeaway than anything else that she's talking about. Forget her talking points, forgetting her all of that. I want to know how this sis was able to sit here and monetize on some things that has happened to her and build what she has built, because we still live here in a capitalistic type of society. We have to learn how to be builders, and we have to learn how to sit here and start building up our community instead of picking and choosing what we want to tear down, thinking we're not creating nothing, because we are. It may not look the way you want it to look, but we're
And maybe
building.
So
We're
you're saying
builders.
that.
We're
So you're
builders
saying that.
first.
So you're saying that her talking points were BS, but because she's black, we should support her because she's monetized. But that
Because
same.
she's a builder. And when people know how to build, whether they build in strip joint, chicken joint, and all the other joints. The reason why that's our number one thing that we do because of where we live at. So our mindset cannot all the time be about tear down, tear down, tear down without a proper takeaway from getting what we need first. And so,
So
like
by
any
that.
good business person, how did
So
you
by
build
that.
that?
So by that same logic, should we have also supported Kevin Samuels because he was monetized as well?
Absolutely. I would have loved to before Kevin Samuels got out of here to ask him how was he able to come up with that concept, monetize it, and know that it would work.
but you got people sitting on the internet eating crab legs and they're monetized. So I don't understand how
We're not
monetization
counting people pockets this. I don't care if they eating
I'm
crab
saying,
legs,
but
shrimp,
my
and all
point
of that. I
is,
don't care about that part.
my point is, just because they're monetized doesn't mean that the information that they're given is beneficial, and that even if they do have a following, you're not going to recommend their
On
following
this
to
internet,
someone
ain't
else.
nobody sat here and showed
I'm sorry.
besides the people who make money, how to make money. So this is why you got some of these other platforms that like 19 Keys, like the Pills. You got all these other people who have moved past this little petty stuff about what people what people eating and what this and that and the third. They're trying to move into a place in your mind to show you how to get ahead, how to build in based upon where we live at. And that's
So
a
it seems
bigger
like you're just
takeaway
saying
than
don't knock
anything.
nobody hustle. It seems like you're just saying in a nutshell, don't knock nobody hustle, basically.
Me
Because
from where
yeah,
I work at, I don't ever knock nobody hustle. But I'm saying we gotta get off these small little petty points also that keeps us bickering back and forth because there's some bigger things. There's some bigger issues. When I had to sit here and pay for my son's funeral, $12,000 out of pocket because I did not have insurance, where do you think that $12,000 came from? If to have it on deck, so I wouldn't have to sit here and be trying to scramble and get all of these things together. Where you think something like that? If my parents would have showed me how to build first, how to save, which we need. That's the bigger takeaway. How to. So when we looking at her and her content, it was more for me. I was more amazed at how she was able to build this thing up. And she said it. She said, the light bulb went off in her head. After all that drama, the light bulb went off in her head. And when that light bulb went off in her head, she was able to sit here and make this thing a thing. And so we need light bulbs going off. So if her content is all bad, we need somebody else coming behind her whose light bulb is going off with some better information and content that's going to be able to monetize this thing. Monetization is a good thing.
So
And I want to say to
it's
that,
not about consciousness. It's about capital.
well, I want to
It's
say to that
definitely
too,
about
as far
capital first.
well,
Absolutely.
I think it's definitely we can take principles or anything, but we got to be truthful in the fact that monetization is way more easier when you're polarizing the community, when you're dividing the community versus when you're telling the truth. When you're
Yeah,
actually
but do
teaching
you think
people,
you can make me buy
monetization is
something? So when you
harder
say
when you actually
polarizing,
care about people because people want the drama, people want to go back and forth,
right?
people don't want the information. So they want someone to come on and just be like yelling and all this other stuff. But if you put together a whole PowerPoint of just information, you're not going to be monetized like that. That's harder to sell than what she's selling, to be honest.
When we're doing these debates and when we're doing everything that we're doing and all this work that you guys, some people sitting here, some people on the internet read 1,000 books just to be the best scholar, and they not reading 1,000 books and want that monetized. Is that what we're saying? People just reading
No,
books
we're
for the heck
saying
of it.
that it's going to be harder because people don't care about those books, sis. People care about the more drama, so it would be better if there was someone that's against those books to come in and debate it because people want that. But if you're just on some education, then you're not going to be as monetized as quickly as her who is polarizing, who is saying, oh, men are retarded. Just saying that statement, men are retarded, is going to get her monetized way faster than a commission that's trying to say, hey, we need to really learn history or something like that. And I'm
Pardon the
not
body.
saying it's wrong, but I'm saying
Pardon,
that's what it is.
pardon the body. Let me add on to that. I want to say this too. You know, I want to ask everybody on the panel. Do y'all know the difference between building materials and bogus building materials?
Okay, because I wanted to go there because that almost makes me feel like if it ain't okay, because I did a job taking care of seniors from the office as HR, but at times I had to go down on the floor, and at times it wasn't about the money. It was about a job that somebody had to do. So if we talking about monetizing, that's almost into commission, I'm gonna say, because you play a higher role than anybody on this panel because you are an educator, right? And because you teach to a whole you have a congregation, I'm gonna say it that way. So you teach to all of the people that follow you. So for you to say that anybody can just do it on just for the money or for monetizing, that's saying that you could just feed the people horse legs and say that's hamburger.
Yeah,
right?
but they have, yeah, for years, right?
You know, I don't want to say we're doing that for years.
Not commission. No, I'm not saying I'm not saying commission. I'm saying
My point
between
is,
all these pastors, yeah,
my
And
point is,
Jim Jones and all of them, yeah, they
giving
have,
dog
yeah, they've
food.
been plaguing they, yeah, they're there.
Okay, but I'm saying, when do we stop giving dog food and really give out the hamburger?
When
Because
you realize who you actually are, and see, I'm a businesswoman first,
let
right?
me finish though. Let me finish
We live in
because
the United States, which everybody keeps saying the fall of America for what? Like, where we gonna go in the fall of America as if your money is not
let's
coming
really
from
get
this thing.
the attitude that if we gonna just monetize, if we all gonna just monetize, and then they trying to do a Bitcoin, and you can't take it with you, what is this money gonna do when this flood or whatever come, and we on the island, Gilligan, and we
Nobody never can, but trust and believe. Ain't nobody on these platforms
everybody
either,
telling you to get
and they
gold.
got that
Everybody talking
with the
about
cash app
they talking about getting
floating straight
gold.
across the screen,
So
right?
across the world, they trying to get $1, and it's called a Bitcoin. It's not even a dollar no more. So we breaking our neck for nothing. So the thing is, it's not to build; it's about rebuilding. And nobody wants to rebuild. Everybody want to start anew. Well, you got to start anew by rebuilding the old. And so this is where it is. So it's not always about rebuilding. We got to fix the kids. We got to fix that's how the generation is messed up. And the only way is the future is the kids. And if the kids don't have the future, then where are we going to start? Somebody put in the chat about the psychology, biology, and then there's neurology. The psychology is the mind, biology is the body, and neurology is your nerves. And all of these things play a part in your body. If you let somebody take over your mind, then it's all over.
Right. And so again, I would sit and just leave it with this because again, I don't believe in people or in our people working hard and trying to work smarter, not harder, and not being paid for anything that they do that goes to this lady here and everybody else writing books and everything. This is why my number $1 goes to the black community, making sure that that money gets circulated. I don't know how many people can say they buy black. I buy black, right? Because I believe in us. And if I'm the only one that has to believe in us, then so be it. That's the way it is. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you anything different. I'm going to always sit here and stand for the principle of us building and making sure that we are properly paid for what it is that we do and always keep you on that mindset of monetization. So I don't see people when they talking points. I see them actually trying to build. And Sinetta gave her a platform to help build and monetize some more. And it helped her out because that is how you do that. It's called a network. That's what people are doing. These people are networking. We should have always been doing this. We shouldn't have never let this go. But each of our jobs are different in the community. You may be the plumber. She may be a baker. He may be a candlestick maker. That's just the way it is. But you still gonna have you still need business men and women too who are in the of business for black people.
And
That's
and
I
we
mean
I think we definitely get it from that point, and we can respect her from that point. But what we don't respect, as far as for her being a queen maker, is you can't make us be queens if you're polarizing us from our men, because our men are the only ones that can actually give us in the position when we all come together and work together, as far as to reestablish us as queens, because they have to be kings. White men aren't going to make us kings
right.
or queens, so them being in power doesn't help us, and us being against our men only helps the other races of men. It doesn't help us.
Mm-hmm. That's only if you take the content like that because she has to have a platform to perform. Who's giving her these platforms? Yesterday was a black man. So then we're on here today saying, but really, we didn't give her a platform, right? She didn't have 1,500 people over here. So I'm just saying, there's always the bigger picture behind the scenes going on. It's always the bigger picture. And that's what that thing is. Sometimes we can't jump at every single thing that's being introduced to us. Sometimes, like today, it's a past and fancy. When I wake up tomorrow, I won't be thinking about her or any of this, right?
Right. I think that
She's a past and fancy. She's not
always
even that deep.
I think people are always throwing the LBGTQ in when it don't need to be thrown in, and that's what made this argument or this discrepancy a discrepancy. Because whether we believe in her man bashing or not, I don't think it had anything to do with somebody keep throwing in whether she was because I didn't even know that. I was speaking on her about how strong she was. If we as single women or women that wanted to date a man, how do we approach a man? That was my question, coming at a man so strong. And because that's how she gave it to me. So that was my initial question. Now, whether somebody kind of come back at me with an answer being somewhat where she was being lesbian or whatever that was, and then all this other stuff, that was not my question. So that all got through in there. That was not the question. The question was, if I am a woman and I approach a man with this with all this masculinity that she represents, how am I coming at a man this way? I cannot come to a man this way. That's what was my question. So therefore, that
Mm-hmm.
takes away my femininity coming to him as this woman, as such a strong that says I'm challenging him in my eyes. So that's the way I took that. So as a devil advocate, that was my question. But instead, I got she was gay and all this other stuff, and that was not the answer. So that's what brought that whole thing to the table, which was not the question in itself. So now we dealing with who she's sleeping with and all this other stuff that don't have nothing to do with anything.
And I agree with that because what I would say is my kind of like that was my point as well, as far as that, okay, like we can say whatever about sexuality, but sexuality is an inner thing. So no matter how many men have hurt me in my life, I was never going to turn away from men. I would only turn away from marriage. I may have turned away from children, but I was always going to deal with men because that's my sexual preference. So it doesn't help me for you not to address the actual self work that I need to do to pick the right man, or like to understand like what Kamisha was saying and being like, look for your twin flame. It wasn't going to help me for you to be like, oh, just turn away from men, because I was never going to do that. I would always just be end up picking bad men then, because I'm always going to want a man. I'm never going to want to turn to the other side because that was always my sexuality. So this thing to be like, oh, well, you can get women that are heterosexual to turn against men. No, you can't. They're always going to be heterosexual. The only thing they're going to do is they're going to pick good men or bad men. So now, really, Queen Maker should be telling me how to look for the good men rather than just telling me what the bad men look like, because I know what they look like. Maybe I need to know how to choose good men, how to attract good men, how to talk to them. So I definitely agree with what you were saying, Sakina, because I feel like that gets overlooked. Of okay, well, I made mistakes, I picked bad men. Now, how do I correct that? Instead of just being like, oh, there's all these bad men. That's not going to help me. You pointing that out because I see them too.
Exactly.
Well, Sakina, can I ask you a question too?
Yes, ma'am.
So, based on what you just said, I kind of understand where you're going, but I don't, because from what I got, you're saying, although you was watching her and you seen the masculinity or the masculinity energy and things like that, when you started speaking about it, the response you got, well, she's gay, she's this and she's that, and you said that you don't feel like that was answering your question, but I think that is the answer, because if we was watching a feminine man and we was all questioning why he's so feminine, and then later on it comes out, oh, he's gay, that's the answer to the question of why it was so much feminine energy. So in a feminine man who's gay, he's not trying to be
No, it
strong.
wasn't the man. Listen, Queen. It was her. So my question was because it was her and she was so masculine, and,
Hmm.
and with her telling us um how we should respond to men and all this other stuff. And for me, if I'm going to date another man or look for another mate, how am I going to approach him with the demeanor that she has, trying to approach him in the way that she talks, or trying, and just the way that she said we should treat men? and men are silly and men are retarded and men this, men that, and just walking up to him so abrasively, so to speak. How am I supposed to walk up to him with my breast poked out and look and belittling him and all this other carrying on? How do I approach him and then at the same time it's supposed to be feminine for a woman?
Right, you can't.
And
Right.
so that was my devil advocate question because I we do play a role, and I'm not that woman to do this to a man, not a man that I'm gonna say he's my man, right? Because I don't date women. So how do I? You can't step to a man like this. Do you understand where I'm going? So that was the question. But instead, reading the chat, that's where I was starting to get. Well, she's this and she's that. I didn't know that because I did watch some of it, but
Oh, okay.
woke up and went to sleep. But when I woke up, she started letting men have it. So I was watching it for the first time, like some of the people, but I did watch some of it yesterday. So I was in and out. I'm not gonna lie. So that's why I was asking, just to play the devil's advocate on both sides, trying to get a perspective. So that's why my question was formulated that way.
Oh, okay.
All right.
And I think we're tired of like watching women have it, all these people, not just Kevin Samuel, but the Andrew Tate, all these people that are turning on women and saying this and that and saying polarizing things towards women. And we can see the negativity that they bring instead of the building. And all I'm saying is at some point we gotta be like neither side is right to just polarize each other. And
Mm-hmm.
we're not solving anything by doing this. We need to come and have these conversations. Like even Darvis, even though he was triggering, it was good that we could sit down and have this conversation to be like, hey, I get what you're saying about women, but it's the same on the other side. And
Right.
as far when it comes to us as so-called black men and women, we got to stop this, that we are not each other's main enemy at all. There is nothing in history or ever a point in time where we've been each other's main enemy, ever.
That part. I agree with you. I agree with you. And I agree with Gemini because she's saying she deserves her righteous, fair chance. And it's not based on any of those things. And I was not basing anything on that. And they didn't have nothing to do with my decision. People were just throwing that out there. And I understand where Gemini was trying to say that has nothing to do with it. And it doesn't. Not at all. I was just speaking on her being so abrasive. And I don't feel like that's right. And nor do I feel like her coming down on the man so hard. Now, some of the things she said is true, but not all of it. And not as hard as she comes either.
Well, then I guess it's fair to sit and say after we sit here and finish talking about this, we can sit here and talk about some. Look, let me not go there. Anyway,
We have to be fair. You know what I'm saying? Just an honesty and being fair, because like I said, it's not fair for us to bash men, but it's not fair for them to bash us. In order for every action, there's a reaction. If we didn't feel protected, right, then it was something they were lacking as well. So you can't have one without the other, and we both have to agree to that. So if we can't support, if we can't be supportive to the men, then don't expect them to be supportive to you. So this is why I said we can't just go out and just try to do a genesis all over and rebuild. Let's fix and rebuild what we have. Don't go try to build anew. Let's rebuild what we got and fix what we got.
Yeah, I like that word that you keep saying, rebuild. But it starts with looking at things, properly. Sometimes, again, like even with the point, from earlier, sometimes we can't fall for that clickbait. Everything that whichever way the wind blows, we got to sit here and sort out some of these things, pick and choose properly, so that we just won't be guiding along the good old trail and didn't even realize it was a whole circle, and it was a circle full of charlatans. When we're talking, because we got that trail has to lead somewhere, but you can only sit here and build. Let's say that trail is a circle, and it requires for you to dig in another direction. Well, we got to figure out how to monetize, sell things, do anything that we can to sit here so we can buy equipment so we can get ready to build and, like she said, rebuild another road. And sometimes it's just really that simple. Sometimes we just dig too deep. When we start talking about other people tearing down a community, we ain't. They couldn't tear down my house if they tried. My house
But it
is
was never that
solid.
easy. It was never that easy. Commission, was it easy when you first started? How many friends did you have when you first started? How many people told you it wasn't going to happen? How many people was against you? How many people did you lose along the way? That road was not easy, was it?
Oh man, I have opposition all my life, just for no reason. But what it made me do is accept it for what it is and keep it moving. Never be the victim. It actually make me go harder, so to
Then you
speak.
have to start
Mm-hmm.
out
I
by
got
yourself.
opposition, just to show that you can't break me.
Then
Even
you have
if
to
I
start out
stand
by
alone.
yourself. Then you go out there by yourself a many a times. And we know that you might not be the tallest of men, but it was some out there taller than you, and you still had to face them by yourself.
Yeah, I broke a lot of tall men.
Okay, then.
I
So
definitely
we
don't
talking
mean
about.
that.
So it never was gonna be easy. But the point is that you have to face it, and
Yeah,
that's why the man who stood alone
it's
now he
what's in the
stand with
heart.
many. Now he stand with many. So the point is that we have to rebuild. And if we willing to do it, it's not about what you say, it's how you say it. And it ain't nothing gonna be the failure but a try. We
Mm-hmm.
ain't gotta be scared. We just gotta be more prepared and just go. Sometimes we ain't if we have a stick, somebody else bring a stick. That's how they used to build houses. With sticks and logs. How about that?
Yeah, you know what, Sakin, and I'm gonna look at you and be like, you know what, Lord have mercy. Let me tell some of this.
Don't you dare blow my
What
house
you call
out.
it? I mean,
Don't
what's
you
that stuff they used to sell on the side of the road? That fake medicine, elixir.
dare
Snake
I'll be
oil.
on the side of the road. I'll be the black person selling that elixir on the side of the road as a building fund, so y'all can ask and stop using sticks because
well,
it
you
don't make no sense to me. But
well,
rebuild is the key,
Lord
Sakina, and
have
I do like that because rebuilding is very important because you should not sit here sometimes. You sometimes you ain't gotta sit here. What's that old saying? You don't have to if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But we can definitely sit here and add to it and add the way that we sit here and move forward in a forward progressive manner.
come on.
Forward progressive manner.
That is so powerful.
But see, that's why I asked the question earlier about, the difference between building materials and bogus building material. Because think about it like this. If you're going to build a house, right, you're going to build that house with the best quality material that can withstand weather. Certain sheetrock ain't going to act right, for example, under certain weather, right? Certain wood ain't going to act right. It might work for a time being, but based on the quality of the wood, it's going to be based on how well structured your house is. So, that's why I asked about the difference between bogus building material. And also another aspect of dealing with building. Put it in this sense. I can't build a pyramid and pour bricks out it at the same time. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? It's gonna collapse at some point. You know what I mean? And
Come
so that's I'm gonna put it like this as well. If I say it all the time, we talk about the money, nothing wrong with that. But I always say it's a lack of unity. And the reason why I say that is because when you got two heads coming together and everybody doing the same thing, aiding and assisting, you can accomplish more with little effort. If you got one person, per million people, so to speak, with $1, that's $1 million. You see
Mhm.
what I'm saying? With $1 now, with a million people. So when you multiply that time $10, you see that's $10 million. That's why I say it's a lack of unity that we have, meaning oneness of mind. Meaning that we want to do everything ourselves. We don't want no help. That's how people have been trained to think in this era and time. They say they want unity, but if I'm in unity, I got to be at the head of what's going on. If I ain't in control, then it ain't no unity. And that ain't the way that we gonna be able to demonstrate. You know what I mean? We got to be able to say, all right, that sister, let her do what she do. I'm gonna stay in my lane. And then this sister, that brother, like y'all was speaking earlier, we got to learn to respect each other's gifts. That's what it boiled down to. Just because I can speak well don't mean that, I might be a person that can unite. It might be a person don't have a good order skill, so to speak, that can bring unity. Let them do that. You know what I mean? You may have somebody that may have a PhD, a bachelor's, a master's, but that don't make them a leader necessarily. They just got degrees. It may be somebody that don't have those degrees, but they can galvanize the leadership because of the charisma that they have. Let them do that. You see what I'm saying? We have to get in where we fit in and know what it is that we have to offer and bring to the table. And that's whether you're dealing with two people, are we dealing with ourselves? Because if you ain't able to deal with yourself, you can't give nothing to nobody else. And you cannot give anything that you don't have. If you just ain't got it, you ain't got it. We have to be willing to accept that.
Come on, I so agree.
So yeah.
Agreed. So should we go
Right.
around and start closing, y'all?
Yes, ma'am.
Commission, thank you so much for coming up. If you want to go ahead and give your closing words and what do you think the solution is for us to move forward?
Already I'm gonna say self-determination. We got too many people amongst us now that are very sharp, for us not to be able to come together and build, on things other than like we was talking earlier, different conflicts. So we know what a conflict at. I'm about bridging the gaps. No matter where our people at, I understand. But it's gonna deal with self-determination, building communities, using our talents, stop taking them to other people and building them up,
Right.
and bring our talents back home. If you got a master's degree or whatever and you respected in your field, then get with your people that's on another level and aid and assist each other. You know, that's the solution to the problem. Us coming together, working with each other instead of feeding the machine that's devouring us. So all this love.
Right.
That's great. I love it.
Thank you, Islam.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for coming up, Commission.
Yeah.
Sakina, Muslama, can you give us some closing words?
Yes, I just want to say thank you for allowing me on the panel. And I always listening to y'all and I enjoy y'all. And Dulcinea, you specifically, one day I'm going to catch you when we have more time because I wanted to ask you some other questions about a previous thing I seen you with. So I can't wait to talk to you and to pick your brain a little bit. And Tanisha, I don't know if she's still listening, but I just want to say I agree with you a lot, Team Atheist. And I just look forward to building with y'all sisters. That's all.
Coming. Thank
Absolutely.
you for coming.
Thank you guys, and thank you again for coming up on the panel and joining us. There was a lot of people in the comments that had a lot to say, but they weren't as brave as you guys to come up. So we definitely appreciate anyone that comes and shares their opinion with us because, as you can see, all of us we keep emphasizing this, but all of us don't agree on everything. But we're here to build together, and I think that's one of our main things to say when people say, "What are you doing?" I mean, I guess
Yeah.
people might not say this isn't doing anything, but to us, we are doing something by having these conversations. So,
Right.
Come
Y'all
on.
have a good night, and I
Fact.
appreciate
Yes. Yes.
everybody, and
Yes.
I appreciate my sisters.
Yes. Well, I like to say I thank everybody for coming out and spending all day night and and half of the day with us. Yes.
right.
Build, wonderful build, and I appreciate all of y'all. You know I got love for you. Thank you so much, and I appreciate it. Shem Hotel.
Sherman Hotel, Sherman Hotel, and definitely, and I know that I'm a West Coast girl, and so my points of view are a little bit different. A lot of people that I share the panel with are from the uh, no, is it safe to say east and northeast or east just east? Is it just?
Thank the guy from UK. We got somebody from the UK here.
Wait, Sakina, wait. Are y'all just east or just is it northeast? Is it just or just east?
Oh, I
Well,
don't
I
even.
guess it's well. She's aren't you Midwest or mid?
I'm mid. Yeah, I'm Midwest.
Well, I think Sakina. I mean, or what? Wait, are you West or Midwest?
I'm just glad to be here.
Right. I think the New
And
York people and stuff, they're just east or northeast. I don't know.
yeah,
Because I don't
that's what
know.
I'm saying.
Because like
But
even Florida, you would think Florida's east, but I don't think of it as southeast.
no,
I just
Florida
think of it
South.
as the south.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Florida South. Yeah, Florida's definitely South. But my point still is, like, piggybacking off of what you all are saying, again, before the Midwest, I'm, born and raised, in the West Coast environment. And so again, having that background, having a very different background than some others makes a huge difference. But coming on this platform, building together with the ladies has been the best thing ever because it shows how well that we can sit here and problem solve, even if we bicker back and forth, right? Like the sisters that we are. It also shows that we have a multitude, a plethora of ideas and ways to build and ways to grow and ways to do things. That is absolutely amazing. There are not too many people who can say they have a panel of this many women and we still get on here time and time again and talk to each other and build with each other on and off the camera. And we do it consistently and faithfully and still have a genuine love for everybody.
Yes.
We are very unique. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate the chat. We have the best chat. It's growing, and I appreciate everybody and everything that they input. Commission is always great to have you over,
Yeah.
for sure. Something about your voice I absolutely love. Right, like I can listen to you just where I can listen to you because I like the tone of your voice. It works for me. So with that saying, for me, good night to everybody. Dosanea, it's
Yes,
you, sis.
I agree with everybody, and all I can say is good night. Thank you guys for coming out. All the people that came into the chat, and I know it's like conflicting. Some people gonna have to catch this tomorrow, but we always appreciate you guys for coming out and just having this conversation for us. And it was really a good conversation. I think in the end, she said a lot of good points. We said a lot of stuff that could be problematic, but at the end of the day, it's all growth. So
Right.
Yes.
Peace and love.
Yeah.
peace and love, all
Yeah.
right. It's 7 hours, so I'm gonna end the stream.
Wow.